Tristan Pelloux, tell me about your vision.
So my vision, do you mean my vision as an entrepreneur, my vision as an advisor, my vision as a teacher?
It's going to be so strange. You get absolute freedom. Right now, I'm looking at the cows in the field across the street. Right
Okay.
now, that's my vision, but you are welcome to share any vision that you want to.
Well, I have actually also a vision of a clear blue sky from my terrace. It's just out there. No, I think, well, my vision for life is that I want to, well, I've had this vision for quite a few years, is that I want to enjoy what I do. So I do lots of different things. I'm a kind of an entrepreneur. I have a couple of businesses that I'm developing. I'm an advisor and a consultant to several other businesses. I've been mentoring startups for 10 years. I like to work with entrepreneurs. I like to help them, because having a background in business strategy and business planning, um, I've realized that a lot of things are obvious for me, but they're not obvious to many people. So I like to help entrepreneurs kind of go from that vision to an actual business.
Yeah.
Um,
And I love
so I
that. I'm
like
going
all
to put
this
the ticker
process.
down here. You wrote this. So I'm going to put this ticker down here so people can see about
Yeah.
your passion about that business and the strategy and entrepreneurs and guiding them from failing to executing the vision. And how, I mean, I'm with you, man. It is a shame when somebody does not know how to execute and bring that to life. So yeah, let's
Mm.
go down that vein for sure.
Yeah. I actually I'm writing a book about this, and I wrote like a smaller, like 30-page essay, and I'm writing a longer book, and I'm even contemplating writing a PhD thesis on that topic. So I do like this idea of going from an idea to a business, and because I think people fall in love with an idea, and there is also this mythical creature that an entrepreneur wake up one day and, yeah, he had an idea and now he has a tremendous business, and I'm like, this is not true. This has never been true, and it's just a very lazy approach to entrepreneurship.
Mm.
um, so I like much more the process of being, methodical about executing and building a business and scaling it, and being ready to scale. Um, and and I often tell people, where do you see yourself in 1 year? Just to probe a bit. I'm going to be a market leader. I'm like, okay, this implies ABCD. Are you ready for that? It means next month you need 300 employees. You're 20 people. How are you going to do this? So it's always, it's not crushing dreams, but it's more bringing by people to
To
reality,
reality.
and to the fact that grinding means, it's
Wearing something
consist
down. But go
yeah,
ahead.
consistency over motivation. It's like you're
Mm.
never going to be motivated every day. Anyway, this is
There's a
my
balance
vision.
there. No, I love it. There's a balance there, but I love that you understand the base and the process and the reality that exists in order for a rocket launch to take place. You're talking
Mm.
about that. You're not talking about the rocket launch and how it has to happen today and like let's go, we're ready. You're talking about adding some, like, being pragmatic about it. And you show that on your website. Do you mind if I pull that up? I'm
Yeah,
gonna
sure.
pull it up while we talk. So, strategy Y being the brand. Again, you mentioned this idea that no, it doesn't happen in one day. You don't just plant a rocket on the ground and then, hey, let's send this up in space and possibly blow up. There's repercussions for people who rush it.
Mm.
So, talk to me about what are the elements of strategy or business growth that entrepreneurs are often overlooking, and turning and putting their blinders on and saying, no, I don't need to look at that they should be considering in the
Mm.
process of launch.
Yeah, I mean, I think I love the passion of entrepreneurs, and what, they come up with an idea, and usually, I tell people, look, you know more the market than I do. You've probably done your homework and you know what you want to do. And I'm here to kind of try to bring that energy into a plan, into something that actually works. Um, and where I see many people failing is that they think the idea in itself is what makes a great business. Oh well, I've identified this need for whatever, and I'm like, yeah, sure. First, let's take a step back. What what is the market? How big is it? Have you tested with customers? Do you have paying customers? No, no, no. And then you're like, okay, well, let's refine a bit what you want to do. So I think it's this boring part of business planning. I'm not saying that you need to spend a million hours on a plan. It's write something simple, start executing, test the ideas, test the plan, adjust, but have something in writing, because this is when when you see that things are not going to work. What is the distribution? What is the marketing? How who are your customers? Oh, maybe they. Oh, okay, well, let's get back to the drawing board here. Um, and for me, it's just answering basic questions. What are you selling? Who are you selling it to? How are you selling it to? How much? And then you realize when people can answer these basic questions about their business.
It's absolutely. And in basketball, there's this concept of fundamentals. All sports have it, but in basketball, because I'm from San Antonio, we had the big fundamental. We had Tim Duncan on our team, and Tim Duncan is notorious for being boring in how he plays basketball and doing all the basic things, and yet he has the highest winning percentage of any athlete of any sport of all time.
Mm.
It has a lot to do with the fact that he's dedicated to the principles. Somebody fact check me on that, by the way. I'd like to see if I'm wrong about him being number one of all time in relation to win percentage. But I want to dive into a deeper question for you specifically. So strategy. Not many kids, at kindergarten, when they ask, what are you going to do for a living, probably answer like, I'm going to be a strategist for businesses. So what's the story behind your why? How did you, I'm curious what your why is, but the story behind it too. How did you get to where you cared about strategy for businesses?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, as many people, it's not totally random, but so I went to business school, did a master's degree in management, and I majored in finance. So I wanted to work in finance. I had this image, going to work on Wall Street and make a lot of money, and it looked appealing. So after I completed my master's degree, I went to London to work in mergers and acquisitions, in investment banking. And I realized that actually probably wasn't for me. Like the hours were very long. It was very a bit frustrating that you were looking at businesses, looking at what they do, trying to sell them, buy them, but you were not going into the core of what they were doing. So I ended up in the corporate strategy team of a bank, so working on the strategy of the bank and what they wanted to do. And it was at the pivotal moment of that bank, because it was being carved out, so being separated from the other, like the main company, which was in Australia, and it was being separated and as a independent business in the UK. So it was a super interesting moment to work in business strategy within that organization. Um, and then it went through a few things. So I ended up uh, randomly in business strategy, and I found it like super appealing to work into planning, into launching new businesses, new products. And then I also like focused a lot on developing new businesses with other companies. Um, and I spent a few years doing that, and it was super interesting. And then I decided leave the UK, and I started doing consulting and advisory on the back of that experience, working in business strategy. But to answer your question, why I became, well, I guess while working, I found like strategy and innovation quite interesting. And obviously, coming from a finance background, a lot of strategic decisions are linked to finance, which is helping me now, because a lot of the time when you're saying you advise a company on how to grow, there's an element of where do we get the money from, when you can't generate that revenue fast enough. So obviously, my background helps a lot
Yeah.
with a number of questions linked to how do we grow. Hey, well, we need money. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, this is the story behind my why.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.